Leonardo Alampay, the branding manager for J&T Express. Good to see you, Leo. Welcome to the program.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me, Kathy.
Sure. So tell us just what happened there.
Well, the contents of the video are pretty clear. This was a case of mishandling of the parcels, but I'd like to add that it was deliberate. This violates every single standard procedure we have for the warehouse, and that currently we have a legal team that's investigating the entirety of the situation. And we are looking to make sure that the personnel involved in the video are sanctioned accordingly.
Right, you said deliberate there. Does that mean that
Yes.
there is some malice in what they've done?
We have lots of evidence to believe that this is the case. We aren't ruling out any other motives for the scenario. We actually have certain accounts already from the people involved. We are already talking to some of the people there, and apparently that is the case. So yes.
And this investigation that you're conducting, when are we to have a final decision or final findings on it?
As for the legal ramifications of the scenario in the video, it is still ongoing. But as what you see in the video, those are already obvious grounds for termination. So at the very least, the fate of the perpetrators is already clear. But in terms of the accounting for the value of these parcels, and the image of our company as well, that will still be ongoing, and there is no defined date for that yet.
Right. So you're still taking account as to the status of the packages that were thrown into the truck. Do you have a specific figure as to the amount that had been considered damaged?
Currently, not yet. Like I said, we are still investigating the problem, but we are very much concerned with the value of our customers' parcels.
Right. Two things of concern in that video clip. You made a mention of them, J&T personnel loading packages into the truck like they were rubbish and carrying on the task without personal protective gear. That's the other concern because we're at a time of pandemic. So what action are you going to take to ensure that this doesn't happen again in your various warehouses and branches?
We have taken stock the situation of all the other warehouses, and the procedures are pretty clear. All of them are wearing face masks. As to this incident, we have strong reason to believe that this was actually organized and planned. So a lot of the things that we are seeing in the video is not consistent with our normal operations. The parcels aren't supposed to be on the ground. The presence of the people without protective gear obviously haven't been screened before entering the premises. So in one way or another, this could not have been a case of some random mishandling. And again, we are making sure that the investigation is thorough.
And as you say, it is an isolated case, but what kind of checks do you have to ensure that the protocols are in place and are enforced in every single branch and warehouse across the country?
All of our facilities, branches, and warehouses are equipped with 24/7 monitoring. Every 2 meters, every square area of the facility is covered. We have security personnel in place. We have regular reports from the officers in charge of the warehouse. And so we pretty much have eyes on everything. And we have reports coming in daily about the statuses of these situations. So we're just looking to reinforce. And again, this kind of situation could not have happened out of our normal procedure. That's why we have reason to believe that this was organized very deliberately.
Right. Could you tell us what typically goes on in your warehouses and in your branches? The normal kind of activity of bringing the packages to a truck and delivery.
Okay. I'm glad you asked. So the very first tell that we have, especially if you take notice in the video, is the parcels are on the floor. This is never normal procedure. All of the parcels are supposed to be in crates. They are pre-sorted there, and then when loaded into the truck or into the conveyor belts, they are all in sacks. They are never loaded individually as how you see in the video. Especially how they reach the branches, they're all batched per area. So there are so many things that don't align in this video with our standard operating procedure. The employees aren't in uniform. The parcels are on the floor. They aren't sorted per area. None of this is consistent with our operations, and none of it is anything that we have forwarded as normal practice when it comes to the company's standard operation in the warehouse.
Yeah, and this unfortunate incident happens as you're trying to ramp up operations, as the quarantine restrictions loosen. How are things going on in the various warehouses in terms of volumes of deliveries?
Well, save for this incident, our operations are actually going pretty well. Volume has definitely increased due to the influx of online sellers over the period of lockdown and the subsequent GCQ. A lot of businesses, smaller businesses, mind you, are starting up, and we're trying our best to accommodate them to the best of our ability. So yes, things are going pretty smoothly. I would have to say this incident is really unfortunate, since it how should I say, ruins an otherwise smooth sailing operation for J&T Express.
Well, I'm glad you came on to straighten things out. Thank you so much, Leo. I much appreciate it. You keep well.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Kathy.
You're welcome. Leonardo Alampay of J&T Express.